Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. I don't know what is going on with me these days. Eve, listen, I pride myself on being on time for stuff. But these days, I don't know what is going on. Even when I do things early, I'm now late. No clue. I cooked early today. I did all of these things early today, and yet still I'm running behind, and I'm just like, what is going on? Anywho, I am here. This is happening. It's another week. It's another day. Um, it's a new month. Welcome to February. Um, I am going to be talking, as usual, I'm always trying to figure some stuff out on this iPad because I like to see and make sure that the show is on YouTube. And for some reason, I haven't quite figured out how to look up the show while I'm on my channel, which is weird. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna look up the show. Oh, there we go. So my channel, which is weird. Clearly, I'm on. So there we go. I am on. It is another Tuesday. I sometimes forget the days of the week. It's one of those things where I feel like January was probably like the longest month ever, but I just feel like 2024 is going so fast. The fact that we're already in February is crazy to me. And so this is why I encourage people to like make the best out of their life because things just go. I am a hot mess today. Things are falling off my table. For those who know me well, they'll tell you, funny enough, and even those who know me well, they don't realize how clumsy I am. I'm like super clumsy. I think it's funny and I laugh about it. But sometimes it's very, very, very annoying. So I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes. Hello, hello, as people come in. Because this look, like I am a mess. Like I don't understand. I am clumsy. I am all of these things. I'm like super awkward sometimes. That's me, dating me in 2024. You get clumsy and awkward. Anywho, um, as you all know, I sometimes scour the internet to see what people are talking about. And this clip, that is the one that inspired this show, was one that I actually saw last year. And I was determining when it would be a great time to talk about it. And then I saw some other things, and I thought, you know what, now would be a good time to have a conversation about it because we're 2 months in and it's like a week before Valentine's Day. And so talking about dating is important because I think some people are still trying to find the Valentines, trying to figure out Valentines, all of that stuff. So, very, very interesting time. So dating in 2024, I reached out to people and asked them, I reached out to men and I reached out to women. I hope everyone can hear me. But I reached out to men and I reached out to women to get their take on, what's complicating dating in 2024, or their biggest complaint, actually, was my question. What's your biggest complaint about dating in 2024? I didn't get an overwhelming number of responses, but I did get some responses from men and women. I also have a video clip again that I'm going to show, and then this post, not really an article, but this post that I thought that I would read, and we would discuss it. So, is dating in 2024 different than 2023? Different than 2022? Probably not. Dating in the last 5-10 years has definitely evolved from dating as a 44-year-old woman. I can tell you that. Like dating is very different. Than it was years ago. I'm more of a relationship person. I prefer to be in relationships. That's what I prefer. I am not the biggest fan of this, what we call dating now, because as people said, the game has changed, and there's an argument between who has changed it, men or women. But as we know, men control relationships, but women control sex, and you're generally not having a relationship without sex. And so if we control sex, why is the game so effed up for us? And I would say it's because we effed it up for ourselves. And I can probably tell you some stories that make me realize that we've screwed it up for ourselves. But before I go into that, I am going to play this clip here that sparked me wanting to have this conversation, which I find fascinating. And we're going to break down this clip a little bit, and then we're going to go from there. So give me a second. Let me turn it up. And I'm actually going to turn this around, and then I'm going to play.
What's up, y'all? Quick story time. So a young lady that I had dealings with, or dating, was dating, whatever you want to categorize it as, was coming over to the crib, right? And so I was feeling a little hungry. So I asked her, I was like, hey, can you grab me food? I'm hungry. And I don't want to leave the crib. She said, oh, sure. If you pay for it, I'll pick one. So then I asked, wait, do I have to pay for it in order for you to bring me food? She said, yes, because if I pay for it, it puts me in my masculine energy. Wait, so we've been dating for a little while? Can't bring me food? $20? Unless I pay for it. And to me, don't get it wrong, I was not mad at all. She still came over. I went and got my own food and everything. But it did make me look at her different. Because to me, that's a character flaw. Because if you only have the capacity to do something for me on the condition that it's reciprocated, that I pay for it, that means it's not genuine, it's not in your heart. And to me, that doesn't work because I'm the opposite. I hold those doors for you on those dates because it's in my heart. I pay for everything when you're with me because it's on my heart. I book your plane ticket because it's in my heart. I am not one to keep score. And so if you can't bring somebody that you've been talking to, dating, a $20 meal, because that puts you in the basket, major red flag. And then I posted about it on my Instagram story. And one young lady was like, well, I would have done the same thing if we're not exclusive. Exclusive. Baby, we're talking about a $20 meal. And now you go to the grocery store, cook, fill up my refrigerator. I asked you to bring it. Because we ain't got to be exclusive for me to pay for your nails, huh? We ain't got to be exclusive for me to hold all of these doors and bring you flowers. But we got to be exclusive for me to bring $20 meal. Sad, man. And I think that's why we have the dating problems and trouble we have now, because nobody is moving just genuinely. Everybody is keeping score and this attitude that, like, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z if he's not doing this for me or she's not doing this for me. And unfortunately, I just don't move like that. I've never had. If you are hungry and I have it, you are fed. Simple. Whether I like you or not. Now, if I like you, it's a bonus, but it's in my heart to be this way. But I would love to hear y'all thoughts on the situation. Ladies, is she justified? Is she right? Fellas, what y'all think?
So we're going to let that one sink in for a second. And while we let that sink in, I'm going to read the responses from the men about what their biggest complaint about dating in 2024 is. So, one man said social media. Another said women thinking they need to be treated to the most exclusive spots. He continued on to say it is earned. Number 3, lack of reciprocity. And number 4, most women are surface level. So we're going to clearly focus on the lack of reciprocity aspect because it relates directly to the video that we just watched. So just to repeat, this is a young lady he's dating, hanging out with, seeing. She's coming over to his home. He has asked her to stop by and get him something to eat since she's coming over anyways. She says no. No, actually, let me go back. She says yes, as long as you send me money to do so. And he asks her why, and she says because to pay for it is in my masculine energy. And she didn't buy it. He went, got himself food. She came over, and whatever happened, happened. He's clearly no longer speaking to her because he sees her differently. So, a couple of things. I want to replace the genders. And I'm going to say that this is two women having a conversation. So I'm going to my best friend's house and I said, hey, on my way over. And she says, okay, you know what? Can you stop by such and such and pick me something up? I say, cool. What do you want? I get it. I bring it over. No problem. That's how we treat our best friends, right? I have never been in a situation where my best friend's been coming to me, I've been going to them, and my best friend says, I won't buy you something to eat unless you send me money. Because realistically, either they're going to give me the money when I get there, or again, we're going to call it a wash because the next time they'll grab me something, it's no big deal. It's 20 bucks. So I find it fascinating that we have no issue doing that. We don't have the same level of expectation on our best friend that we'll do anything for, right? This is someone we love, this is someone we care, this is someone we cherish, this is someone who, you know, is supposed to have your back. Like, all of these things are supposed to happen in a best friend relationship, right? Now, for a lot of women, they'll say that they're looking for their best friend in a man. So when they're in a relationship, I want that man to be my best friend. Yet in this scenario, you're not treating that man as even a basic human. My issue with it is there's a couple of things that we have to evaluate here. Number one, lack of reciprocity, going back to that. Why, actually, how do I really want to put this? How does paying for somebody's food put you in a masculine? Do you understand that I pay for food for homeless people? Men and women, girl or boy. If there's a homeless person and they ask me for something, I pay for food for them. It's a basic human decency. I did that as recently as about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, right? Basic human decency. I'm coming from the store, I'm going across the street, a gentleman across the street asked me, because there was a McDonald's behind me, do you mind buying me a breakfast sandwich? Bought him a breakfast combo, made sure that he had a place to sit down, and left and continue on with my day. Because it's basic human decency to want to do things for other people. So the idea that this woman is dating a man that she is likely giving her body to, but didn't feel that purchasing him food was something she could do because it put her in her masculine energy, that's crazy to me. What was even more crazy is how many people, when I went on his TikTok, how many women agreed with her viewpoint. They felt that, well, they weren't exclusive, and so she's not obligated to buy him food. But yet, if it was an opposite story, they would be outraged. We can't have it both ways. Dating is really not that complicated of a concept. It's not. It's not. We've made it super complicated, but it's not. Dating is not complicated. You go into dating as a decent human being. You treat people you're dating like you would treat another human being. With decency, with kindness, with warmth, with care, with all of that. If this is someone that you actually want to get to know and care to bring into your life, that's what you need to do. Here is my thing. I'm making it clear to people, I'm not going on dates with people that I couldn't potentially see in my life. I'm just not. If they do not fit certain requirements that I have, one of which is children, having young children, I know that me and that person, we're just never going to be. So I don't accept dates from men who have young children. I don't even bother to accept it. It's not part of something that I want in my life. I do not want to be somebody's, stepmother to a young child. I just don't. I really do not. I would like to avoid it like the plague. I will make certain exceptions. There are certain exceptions to the rule, but generally the rule is I do not date men with extremely young children, too complicated, and I've already gone through that phase in my life. And therefore, I wouldn't be spending my time in getting to know someone that doesn't meet that requirement. And so my thing is, tip number one for dating in 2024, have some requirements and stick to them. Stick to your requirements. People like to use the word standard and then say, I won't go beyond my standard and it's below my standards, whatever standards. It's just have requirements. There are certain things that is going to be required of you in order for someone to date you, and there are certain things you require of them in order to date them. And date based on your requirement, because if you're dating based on your requirement, then this should not be an issue. There should be no issue if the man who fits your requirements asks you to pick up a $20 meal. There should be no men complaining about lack of reciprocity. If you care about that, like genuinely care about that person, reciprocity comes easily. So the fact that men are saying that lack of reciprocity in dating, it means that they are going out with women, or women are agreeing to go out with them, that they know that they would not be in their life. Like, I don't know about you, and maybe it's me getting older, I just do not have that much time in the world to be spending time with people I do not have any interest in. No physical attraction, no mental attraction, just nothing. I do not have time for it, because what ends up happening is it's taking away time from other things that I have to do. I've got a myriad of things that I would rather be doing with my time than spending time with someone who doesn't spark my interest at all. I've done that in my 20s. I'll admit it. In my 20s, I've gone out with people 1 or 2 dates, and I'm like, maybe there'll be an interest by the 3rd date, and there isn't. I'm at the point that I'm just like, no, if there are a few things that we go through, we have a couple of conversations on the phone, if there's no vibe, if, again, right away, you have a young child, you've got multiple children's mother, you just don't fit certain things, you didn't grow up with potentially a man in your life, you don't really, value women in a way that I think you should. Like, there's a few things that I try to determine, I'm just not gonna waste your time and mine, and I cut it there. And so you wouldn't have any complaints if you just put yourself in a position that you got some requirements for, what it takes to date you and what people need to do to step up to the plate. So I'd see that's one. I think it's, we're creating false barriers and false ideals about dating. Is it because of social media? Very likely, right? We all we have to do is watch The Social Experiment. If you have not yet watched The Social Experiment, I would recommend that you do. When it talks about, the impact of social media and how a lot of that ends up in your subconscious. And again, we have all of these algorithms that the moment you voice note something in your phone, all the ads show up on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and things are just dinging your phone because these things are listening to you and feeding and pumping you things. And so if you are trying to create this narrative and this life that you want to live, it will literally show you that as if that's all that's out there, even if it's a fake reality. And a lot of us are looking at social media dating and social media celebrities and all of that, and looking at their life and thinking that that's real, when a lot of it is curated. It's curated content. I curate a lot of stuff on this show. I don't put out every single clip. I don't take this show and just break it down, and every little thing that I say I put out. No, I edit videos. And sometimes I splice things together, because sometimes I said something better at 10 minutes and 20 seconds that goes with something that I said at 16 minutes and 25 seconds. I splice them together and move them around so you get something else. Wasn't even what I said in the original video. I just spliced it together. That's life. Social media is making a lot of you think that this is life, and you're listening to some of this content and you listen to people talk about nonsense. Like, I watched a woman on Kendra G this morning. I watch Kendra G when I'm at the gym, right? I go to the gym in the morning. I'm there. I'm watching this woman on, well, there was 2 delusional ass women on yesterday's show on Kendra G. But the one that killed me was the woman who had 2 kids. Okay, she said she was a nurse, but if you listen closely enough, she said she was a CNA. A CNA and a nurse are two distinct things. Again, I listen to understand, not to respond. So this woman has 2 kids. If I'm not mistaken, they were by 2 different men, and she wanted to go back to school, and she wanted to find a man who was going to be happy to allow her to stay at home with her 2 kids, go back to school while he works and pays for her and her 2 kids. And she had all of these requirements for this new man that she clearly didn't have for her child's father. Then there was the woman before her that had the 4 kids with, I think it was the same man that she had no requirements for, but now she has this new man and she has all of these requirements, and she's saying, oh, he doesn't have to take care of my kids are my responsibility, but then he needed to be a provider and a protector. Like, there's all of these narratives, and I'm starting to think about what the hell is in the tap water, because we have become a bunch of delusional ass women. Does it even make any sense? Like, who are we listening to? Some of the stuff that we're complicating doesn't need to be complicated. Dating is really not that complicated. It's not a complicated concept. You know what it is? You meet someone, you're attracted to them, number one. For men, it's physical attraction. Maybe for women, it's physical and mental or type. Whatever it is, you find someone, you're attracted to them in whatever way you're attracted to them. You make some time to spend time together. You converse about a variety of topics in life. You figure out if you get along. And if after 1 or 2 dates you get along, you continue to try to build something. If you do not, if you find it's not for me, you cut ties and you move on. No muss, no fuss. And as you are continuing to date the person that you like, you start to decide if you have common values, common goals, common interests. Is this someone that you could see in your future? Do they add value to your life, or do they detract from your life? None of this has to do with finances. Hey, Shelby, I owe you an email. I did not forget. I've just been busy. I did not forget, right? Like, that's dating. Dating is not a super complicated thing, but we have made it a super complicated thing that it doesn't need to be. Let me repeat what I just said. Dating is the following. You meet someone, you converse with them, you determine if they meet your minimum requirements. They do not need to meet your maximum requirements. Determine what your minimum requirements are. Do they meet those minimum requirements that you are willing to sit down and have a conversation with them, whether that's over coffee, whether that's over dinner, whether that's a walk in the park, having a hot dog at a hot dog stand? I do not care. After 1 or 2 dates, you say, is this someone that I want to invest more time into? If it's yes, you continue. If it's no, you cut your losses and go on your way. With the yes person, again, you're sitting down and you're figuring out, as you're going through these dates and conversing and getting to know each other, do they now meet your medium requirements? And then from there, do they meet your maximum requirements? And again, no one's going to be perfect, but that's what dating is. And I'm not even talking about money right now. Do they have the same values? Do they have the same goals? You know, can you converse with them? Do you like them? Do they have a sense of humor? Are they kind and caring? When you go to restaurants with them, how do they speak to other people? When you're passing homeless people, what are their thoughts on this? What do they think about the state of the world? Like, there are all of these different aspects that you need to think about when you're dating. Dating is not really this hard, people. It's exhausting when I hear these shows and people make it so complicated. It's not complicated. Can we just simplify it? Can we bring it back to first boyfriend, first girlfriend situation without the goddamn baggage, all the extra baggage that we bring? Bring it back to that first conversation you had with that first girl that you like, or that first guy you liked, and you sit down and you just converse like human beings. Not talking about how much money he has. I mean, men are, again, I've known this since I was a teen, right? Like, I've known this from I was in high school. Men are attracted to what they're attracted to. Clearly, men date me because I was attractive. I've been fairly attractive since I was a teenager. I've had a lot of this body since I was a teenager, unfortunately. And thank God I kept it together, because my mother would have killed me, and my daddy too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a simple thing that we've turned into this complication, and we've created all of these rules that don't exist. And the reality is, you're dating to find out if someone has basic human decency and you can do life with them. Can I do life with this person? Could I see this person in my life? Can I picture this person every day beside me? Is this someone that I can bring into my corporate world? Is this somebody that I can bring around the dinner table? Is this someone that could be a great role model if you already have children? Is this someone who could be a role model for the children we could have together? Like, it's very basic questions. So all these barriers that we're putting up, I think is personally, I just think it's nonsense. I think it's nonsense. We would fare so much better if we just let go of whatever it is. I honestly don't even know anymore. I'm starting to think that there's something in the drinking water, right? Like, they put something in the tap water that's turned people ridiculously crazy. Um, because it does not make any sense to me anymore as to why, we're doing some of the things that we're doing, or I'm seeing some of the things I'm seeing on social media complicating dating. But I am going to read something that I thought was fascinating. Oh, I thought I sent all of the clips to myself, but somehow I only sent, that's really weird. I sent this this article to myself, and somehow when I thought I sent both, I've only sent one part of the article, and it's the post. It was 10 traits that a man wanted in a woman, and somehow I sent the first 5, but not the other 5. And I need to try to figure out how I get to the other ones, and I might just try to find this person who wrote it on Facebook, and they have a very complicated name, so I don't even know if I'm going to, because I don't remember anything I just read, because I've never seen it. I've never seen a name like this in my life. Oh, I might be wrong. I might have found it. Because I thought it was an interesting read of 10 what men are actually looking for in a woman. And let me just make sure it's this guy. It is 10 traits in a woman that attracts a man. Musbahu Calm Life. Let's find this man again. Musbahu Calm Life. And let me see if I find the 10 traits he claims are what is attracting. Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. I had prepared myself for this show, I swear I did. And for some reason I sent a document to myself that absolutely did not send, and I don't want to just read the 5. I want to read all 10 because I think it was fascinating what he said, and I'd love to know if the gentlemen agree with traits that you find attractive in a woman, as opposed to all of the extra stuff that we're actually doing and overcomplicating. Here we go, and overcomplicating things. So 10 traits in a woman that attract a man, and I would love to hear thoughts from the men on this. So 1, gentleness. A woman who doesn't love drama, one who is inviting and peaceful. I get the peaceful part. Men gravitate to where there is peace and calmness for peace of mind. Number 2, confidence. A woman who knows who she is, she acts, talks, and dresses like the queen that she is. I cannot stand. I can't. Can I just say, men? As much as I appreciate it, I cannot stand when men say, "Hey, queen." Hey, I don't know, or empress, or any of that stuff. I don't know it unless it's my man. It just comes off disingenuous. But I digress. Going back to what he said, confidence. A woman who knows who she is, she acts, talks, and dresses like the queen that she is. She's not hiding behind him. She's powerful all by herself. Confidence is attractive and sexy. Number 3, good communication. A woman who knows how to talk. She is friendly, funny, and speaks with the right tone. She is not rude, insulting, or irrational. She is easy to talk to, can speak in writing too. It makes him miss her when apart. Number 4, values. A woman with her stand. She has her set of beliefs and is not easily swayed by friends, trends, social media, moods, or the chase for attention. A woman who understands that she is to a man of value. Sorry, a woman who understands what she is to a man of value. Nurturing ways. A woman who grows people and grows things. She adds value and makes things better. She manages well, handles well, and hatches to multiply after incubation. Number 6, self-love. A woman who loves herself. She has a healthy self-esteem. She is not insecure, suspecting every woman who interacts with her man. She is not intimidated by other women. She knows her worth. Number 7, purpose-driven. A woman who has her own personal dreams and goals, objectives, aims, and vision. She's hardworking. She has something she loves to do that fires her up. She is busy being her. Number 8, engaging personality. A woman who is not passive, waiting for the man to do everything as she complains when he doesn't. She's a life partner, playing her role, helping in making decisions, seeking opportunities, and participating. A man loves a woman to walk hand in hand. Patience. A woman who knows she will not get everything she desires immediately. She doesn't put pressure on him, doesn't gaslight her men. She celebrates growth no matter how small. And number 10 is depth. A woman who can challenge him and inspire him. He listens to her he listens to her talk and goes, wow, a woman who is not a mate. Clearly he is like British or Australian. Are those traits that men are looking for in a woman? What say he? So I'm just going to go back and read them. So gentleness, confidence, good communication, values, nurturing ways, self-love, purpose-driven, engaging personality, patience, and depth. Would that sum up some of the qualities that men are looking for in women? I have heard a few of those, and nowhere in there did he put physical attractiveness. But the funny thing is, we all know men are visual, so we get it. Like, you see, and then you hear, and then you feel, right? But you're going to want to approach me first because of what I look like. So that goes without saying. But then after that, do I have these characteristics? And Shelby, I'm going to look at your comment right now to see what you said. So Shelby on YouTube is saying he would say yes. He would definitely say yes, that those are characteristics and traits that he would look for in a woman. And I love that. And that was so simple. And I would wrap up all 10 of those traits into one word: feminine or femininity. Going back to the list, a feminine woman is gentle. A feminine woman is confident. A feminine woman is a good communicator. And I consider good communication listening to understand, not listening to respond, otherwise called fucking your feelings. Okay? The ability to be able to communicate with your spouse, your partner, a friend, whomever, without the feelings attached and making it about you, allowing them a safe space to be able to address any concerns or anything that's going on in your relationships without getting the feelings involved. That to me is a good communicator, when you're actually listening to understand and not responding. Having values. A feminine woman has values. She's got goals. She's got ambition, whatever that looks like, but she's just not running around in the world aimlessly, right? Nurturing. That's why we're mothers. Loves herself. A feminine woman is very in love with herself. This isn't narcissism. This isn't egotistical. This is just femininity, because we understand we birth life, we nurture. Like, you can't go around in the world hating yourself, because you do anyways. We won't talk about what people do that hate themselves. We see enough on it on social media. A feminine woman is purpose driven. She has an engaging personality. She's patient, and she has depth. Like, men are looking for feminine women. Women are looking for protectors and providers. That hasn't changed since my parents. I am 44 years old. When I was born, my father was 35, my mother was 23. My mother was looking for a protector and a provider. That's what my father was. And my father was looking for an attractive woman, and that's what my mother was. She was stacked, my mama. Okay? And she was sweet, and she was nurturing, and she was, had a little bit of an edge, and that's where I get lines from. But she was not. It was, again, men were looking for beauty, women were looking for protectors and providing. That didn't change. That was what it was 44 years ago, or 40 whatever years ago my parents got together before I was born. That's what their parents look for. Because if my grandparents were alive today and I could sit down, and my grandfather probably would tell me why he chose my grandmother, and why he had all these kids with her, and why they lived this life together, right? Like, I come from, my father's side of the family. There's marriage there. There's generation of my aunts and uncles are married. I come from a generation from my mother's side, not as much to some extent, but my father's side, generations of married people. And if I were to sit down with my aunts and my uncles and all of them, they would say, I fell in love with him because I knew X, Y, Z. And sometimes it wasn't even about the falling in love. It was about, you have this characteristic and these traits, and you can protect and provide. We're going to combine and come together. We've overcomplicated something that's actually worked for decades and generations. Now we're talking about masculine energy, and I can't be my masculine if I buy a man a meal, and I can't just show basic human decency. Just show up as a basic, decent human in the world, and you would be surprised how much better your life would be. I try to show up in every situation just as a basic human. Caring and nurturing and loving and warm and kind. Because I'm caring, loving, nurturing, and kind to my best friend. I'm caring, loving, nurturing, and kind to my daughter. I'm caring, loving, nurturing, and kind to the people who give me a paycheck. And so the fact that I would not bring those same qualities and traits into dealing with a man, I don't understand that. Now, to the men, what type of women are you choosing? Because again, I had men tell me that their biggest complaint was most women are surface level. Women are not reciprocating what they have. Some are saying social media is complicating their dating life, and women thinking that they should get the most out of a man without earning it. If you're the predator, you've got to ask yourself, Why are you preying on those types of women? Why are you choosing those types of women? You choose relationships. Why are those the types of women you're gravitating towards? Is it something that you need to change about yourself? Because I know that if I am attracting a certain type of men, if the men that I were attracting were all of the men that I didn't want, if I looked down my list of requirements and went, oh my God, every man I attract does not meet my requirement, then I'm going to look at myself and go, what is it that I need to change about myself so that I no longer attract? It's like a magnet, right? When you get a magnet, what does it do? It pulls things to it, right? That will attract itself to that magnet. We are a magnet for people in our life. And if you're a magnet for the wrong person, then you have to figure out why that's what you're bringing in. Dating requires my biggest dating tip for 2024, look inward. Look inward. If you're in a space where you are not getting the results in dating that you want, looking outward isn't going to help you. Look inward. I'd have to say to Shiba, okay, you're back on this market, you're dating, you're trying to figure out where you go, but all of the men who are attracted to you are nothing on this list of men that you have written out. Because I have a list, I've written it out. It is a great list too. Wonderful list. I will share it at some point. It's in my purse. I walk around with it, right? And if I'm saying that, wow, none of these things that you want a man of value, but all you're attracting are drug dealers and scammers, that doesn't seem like a valuable and noble profession. You've got to figure out what all you're attracting is drug dealers and scammers, because that's not on your list. You want a man who has made good choices for his life, but yet you will keep attracting men with multiple kids by multiple women who did not know how to protect his seed. You need to figure out why that is that you keep attracting those types of men. I'm going to look inward. I'm not going to say there's piss in the pool and blame the outward person. I'm going to figure out what's going on with me. Why am I not attracting the man that I desire? And to the men, and again, I do not speak for men, but I will speak to men. For men, if you're complaining that you're not finding women who you can be in a relationship, you've got to figure out why is it that you are in a space where you can't attract those types of women. Thank you, Twin Saint. Okay. Right? What's going on? What's going on with you? That's what you have to figure out. Like, we need to, again, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my parents, my aunts, my uncles, my sister, like people who are married, if I were to sit down, if I had the chance to sit down 3 or 4 generations of my family, that were married and grew up in marriage, let me tell you, they would likely tell me very similar things. Very similar things. Some of us just, believe it or not, I'm going to say something that is crazy considering the platform I am. Some of us need to walk away from social media and do a reset of ourselves, because we are allowing a false reality to impact our real life. That's what we're doing. Social media is great if you can find a space in social media, and my space is it. So keep coming here, okay? But if you find a real space in social media where people are having real conversations, that's great. But a lot of the stuff that we're following on social media is this false reality of people spinning things that are not real. And so we need to do a reset and bring it back to the basics. That's my tip for 2024. Bring dating back to the basics. I like you like me. Let's get to know each other. Not about money, not about what trips you can take me, not about being flown out. Basic conversation. Do you remember those times when you would meet someone and you would talk on the phone for hours? I don't know about you, but listen, my mom was very big on the phone. Okay, my mom used to like be a hawk on the phone, and we had back in the day, when you had the house phone, and when we got caller ID, it was a big deal. But my mom had a phone in her room, and there was a phone in the living room. And when you met someone and you would try to talk to them like late at night because your mother or father were sleeping, and so that they wouldn't pick up the phone to interrupt your conversation. And my mother's Jamaican, she'd be like, Tashiba, oh yeah, talk to it's here tonight. Like, you don't want that, so you did it late, and then you would stay up and you would chat and be like, no, you hang up, no, you hang up. No, can we get back to that? Thank you, Toronto Mermaid. Yes, we are overcomplicating the dating game. And she said, yes, right? I enjoy that. That's how dating is for me right now. It's somebody that I actually enjoy conversing with, someone that makes me laugh. Sense of humor is a big thing for me. I love a man who makes me laugh. Video calling is the greatest thing ever, right? You get on the phone, you're able to see someone in their most purest form. You're seeing what their life is like. I have talked to guys while I am cooking in the kitchen, and they're like, it's nice, it's fun, it's light. It's light. It's such a beautiful, dating is not that hard. It's a beautiful thing to get to know someone. When you do not overcomplicate it with all of the other things, stop looking at other people's reality and trying to make it your own. Create your own. Create the vision of what the best life that you can live with your partner look like. I don't care what Beyonce and Jay-Z are doing. That's not my business. I am not Beyonce. And my man is not Jay-Z. Let Beyonce and Jay-Z live. Tashiba plus X, whomever X will be in my life, we are going to create the best life that we can do together. And I'm bringing it way back. So I'm saying, the biggest tip I can give you for dating in 2024 is just bring it back to the basics. Communication. Real communication. Conversations. Finding out about someone. Finding out about their childhood. What was their favorite childhood memory? You know what? If they were an only child, what was that like? Say, what was it like? Like for me, being an only child for my mom, but also growing up with siblings for my dad. Like, I talk about both sides. Like, what's your favorite childhood memory? Is there anything that you would change growing up? Like, what was the dynamic between your parents? Oh my God, what was the most embarrassing thing that you did? Did you ever skip school? Like, it's just these kind of basic things, but you learn so much about someone as opposed to how much money you make. I can tell you, I have never in my life asked a man how much money he makes. So this idea of having like the men who are attracted to me generally do well for themselves, because that's the type of men I attract, because that's the type of energy I give up, because I'm a woman of a certain value, and I'm a woman that men who make fairly good money are attracted to, not just because of my looks, because I add potential value to their life. But this is something that we learn later. Let's just bring it back to the basics. I love just a good conversation. Let's just promise to have really good conversations. A man is never going to impress me by taking me out to a $500 meal. It's nice. I've done it. It's amazing, right? I have had dates who have spent money, like money on a date. That didn't make the date any better. Going to a $300 a plate meal didn't make me like the man even more. It's a nice thing to do, but you know what I actually really like? Conversation. If it's summer, let's go for a walk in the park. Let's sit and watch the oceans. because there's a lake in Toronto. There's lots of water. I actually really live close by like a marina, and I like to go walk by the marina. I would just go with a guy and walk by the marina. We can watch the boats. There's a lighthouse up there. Watching, the dogs play. We can get ice cream. They're just, like talk about, look at the houses in the area. Just talk about life, memories, so forth. Kick a ball. I'm the person who likes to go on and honestly, I hate the swings, but I love the slide. So I'll go to a playground and go on the monkey bars and pretend that I have got upper body strength, and I do not. My upper body strength is not that great, but I work on it. But those are the days that I remember. That's simple to me. And I've done all the other stuff. I've done the getting flued out, and I've done the 3, 4, 5. I think the most a guy has spent on dates with me in one night is like well over $1,000. And this does not include when we're at a club and my girls and I get bottles sent over to our table. We have been in strip clubs and guys have literally come to our table and put a stack of money where we were and left. I've experienced it all. Ooh, sounds great. But the dates that I remember, the times I remember, is when someone just took the time to be vulnerable and allowed me to feel safe with them. And we talked about just kind of everything under the sun, and we laughed. That's what I remember. Let's simplify dating again. That's hashtag. Let's simplify dating again. Let's simplify dating again. Let's go back to being people our grandparents, our great-grandparents would be proud of. Even if you don't, I always want to conduct myself as someone my father would be proud of. I always consider, am I conducting myself in a way that my daddy would be proud of me? Rest in peace, daddy. My daddy was so important in my life. And so when I deal with people, I say, would my daddy have approved of how I dealt with somebody in the situation? And I never want that answer to be no. I never want that answer to be no. And so I also think about, how do I want my daughter to see the men who show up in my life? How do I have to talk to her about men who will show up in hers? Me and her father have had to make sure that we have conversations. I remember even just always saying to her father, like, you're her first love. And so, whatever you do, that's going to imprint on her. How she sees things with me is going to imprint. So I've always had to walk a certain way. I want my daughter to be proud of the person that I am. I want my parents to be proud of the person that I am. I want to be proud of the person that I am. And that's an attitude that I take into dating. Would I be proud of how I dealt with this person when all is said and done? And I always say, you know what? The 3 things I can promise a man in a relationship is peace, respect, and no matter what happens between us, I'm going to leave him better than I found him. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. I am there to add, not to take. And so I go into a situation thinking, what can I add, not what can I take? And to the men, I would say, if you are having dating complaints in 2024 about the type of women that you are meeting and they, are lacking integrity, or social media has their mind, or whatever these other responses were, you need to stop dating women who have nothing to lose, but will help you lose everything. If you are the predator and I am the prey, what are you preying on? When you have superficial values and you get a superficial woman, or you're going to have a superficial relationship and she's going to superficially want you. There's not going to be anything of substance because you weren't looking for a woman of substance. And the same with women. If all you're concerned about is what is in his pocket and how tall he is and how big his peen is, and you're not looking for a man of substance, a man who's family oriented, a man who's kind, a man who's warm, a man who's ambitious, a man who's goal-oriented, a man who's got a great relationship with his mother, a man who has a great relationship with his father and had a father in his life. Like, that's important to me. I want to know that the man that I have had a father. That's important for me because I had a dad. What was the relationship with his mom? How does he treat strangers? What is his thoughts on the world? And nowhere in there have I gotten to money yet. Because when you're dating, let me just be clear, when you're dating, you're not entitled to someone else's money. No man is obligated to spend money on me. He is not. It is a kind gesture. When a man asks me out, yes, I'm going to assume that you are going to pay. Do not, by the way, ask me out if you have no intention of paying. That I will tell you, I do not Dutch because you are asking me. But I'm not going to tell you that you need to take me here. If you want to take me for a walk and an ice cream and a vegetarian hot dog, and we can sit on a bench and chat for hours, then that's what we're going to do. If you choose to take me to a Michelin star restaurant in New York City, then we're going to do that too. But I'm not going to require it of you. But fellas, you got to understand, if that's where you're setting the bar and that's what you're leading with, if you're leading with that and you get a woman who that's what she wants you for, you did it to yourself. Women, if our bar is sex, if you're leading with open legs and easy vagina, and that's what a man comes for, you did it to yourself. It's not rocket science. You did it to yourself. So I am going to, I don't know why I didn't prepare these cards. I know some of you have said you do not like tonight's conversations and the cards, but it's okay. I'm going to use them until Toshiba has her own Fuck Your Feelings cards. We're going to use these tonight conversation cards. If there's any comments, questions, happy to hear them, happy to read them. But I'm going to do a couple of these questions before I stop for the evening. It's been a busy day. Today was a busy day of meetings. Outside of this, guys, I work for a media company. I work for a media company. I'm the manager of the partnerships department. And let me tell you, when you have a big number that you have to bring in to allow your organization to run, some days I am exhausted. But it is what it is. So I'm sorry. I read these questions and I have to think, who hurt the people who comes up with these questions? You know what? For the sake of it, I'm going to read this because I think it's a silly question, but whatever. An engaged couple breaks up for 2 weeks, but quickly reconciles. Just before the wedding, the man finds out that he got another woman pregnant during that break. What happens next? Whatever the couple decides is best for them. For me personally, no thank you. That's just me. There is not enough love in my heart for me to accept helping my man raise a newborn baby at this point in my life. That's personally for me. Interestingly enough, though, I am a child of an affair. So my parents had an affair, and that's how I was born. And my stepmother loves me to this day at 44 years old. I call her mama. She will be at every important occasion in my life, but I just was not built that way. And God bless her for loving me and raising me, but I ain't got it in. So Toshiba would have to go because that is not the life I envisioned for myself. There's not enough love in the world for me to do that. But that's just me, and whoever wants to do something else, good on them. But it ain't gonna happen. I know the type of life I want to live, and dealing with an outside baby and a young baby, nah, cut it. I'm good. True or false? If you are dating Having a child is the woman's decision only. Defend your. We're not. We're not. Um, a person you love only likes you in return. Could you have a friends with benefit? Oh, they need to do better. Okay, if a person who checks all of your boxes tells you early on they don't want children, but you do you keep dating them? So I had this situation happen in my life several times, actually. Two memorable ones. I had my daughter at 21, and I knew that once I had her, I had no desire to have any more children because I only had the emotional capacity to raise one. And about a year into her life, her dad and I decided that we were going to separate and co-parent. And I think we did a pretty damn good job because, you know, she's a Dean's List student and my daughter is just amazing. And me and her father are super proud of her. But as you can imagine, you know, I'm 22, 23 years old, and I'm back and I'm single and I'm meeting men and I'm saying to them, I don't want children. Not only did I not want multiple children, I do not believe for myself of having children for different men. I would stand on that. I do not believe in children with different men. If that's what other people want to do, good on you, girl or guy. That wasn't, again, the plan I had for my life. And so my first boyfriend after my daughter's father, who I still speak to this day, 20 years later, I remember that was the obstacle for us. I loved that man to the core, but I knew that he wanted a child and I was not in a position to be able to give him that. And I guess for me, the worst part was I was in a position, I was in a physical position to give him a child, but there was no way, there was just no way it was going to happen. Again, I don't love nobody that much in the world to when I've made a decision that I'm going to change my decision for you. You know, when women say, I don't want to have more children, but if my husband does, I'll have it. Not me. Not me. Not going to happen. 22 years later, one child, right? And so I remember, and I was having funny this conversation with him just about 2 weeks ago, you know, and I was saying that, you know, our relationship was amazing. I loved everything about him, but the fact that I knew that I had given away the highest honor to some other man and wasn't in a position that I was willing to give that to him, even at 23, 24 years old, I knew that that just wasn't going to work. And about a year or two after our relationship ended, he had a child. She's now in university. She started her first year. He raised her. He had custody of her for a very long time. I think he got her when she was maybe 8 or 9. Raised her pretty much on his own. He's an amazing father. And I think to myself, imagine being in a situation where I robbed that man of something, or we got into a relationship. And after a while, it was like, I want to have kids and I've spent 10 years. So I would say, if you're not aligned on things like that, just part ways. And I've done it twice. I had another boyfriend. We lived together. He said he didn't want to have children. And then his sister had a baby. And then his family, you know, started asking us when it was going to happen, because I would go over with my daughter. We would go over together and I was helping with the baby and I would put the baby to sleep. And I would do all of that. And they were seeing how I was with my daughter and, you know, the grandchild and nephew. And I was just like, listen, I do not want to ever put you in a position that you don't get to live the life that you want to live and be a father. And so I had to walk away. As again, loved him. He was a great man, but I, again, never want to have somebody miss out on a life that they were meant to be because of a decision that I had made for my own reasons. So those are my stories. So let's see. God forbid. Let's see here. A person you like admits to cheating in every serious relationship they've had, but says they've changed. Is this a deal breaker? So to answer the basic question, is it a deal breaker? No. Just telling me they've cheated is not a deal breaker. I would then need to find out more of the circumstances around why they cheated. Why did they feel obliged to cheat? What was happening within themselves? What was happening in the relationship? Are there certain, I need to understand their triggers, which causes them to cheat. If it's that they're addicted to sex, it's very different as if they felt that they were missing something. Like, I need to figure more of that. I need to delve a little bit deeper before just cutting someone off for something that was outside of me. Like, that had nothing directly to do with me. I am not those women, and I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I'd need to delve a little bit further. And if I felt that they had not changed and those things were still there, then I would walk away. But if I did feel, and if I was seeing that they had changed or they had taken steps to address those issues, then I would proceed with caution, but I would proceed. I try not to judge someone based on previous relationships, because we all bring out different things in different people, right? I know that there are men that I may not have brought out the best in them, but the next woman did. Or there are men that I brought out the best in and then the next woman didn't, right? Because we all bring something different to a relationship. I do think that people can change, and I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt. And so, no, it is not a deal breaker, but I definitely would proceed with caution. Okay, I don't know what that was. Okay. Oh my God. These people are, this is talking about side pieces. Like, where, like, who wrote the, okay, I'm going to do one more, and I hate all of these questions. I'm going to create my own cards. I'm going to create my own cards for people of a certain intellect, because these cards, I'm going to have to write a strongly worded letter about just how juvenile some of these questions are and how lowbrow they are. What does the woman say? Talk about low vibrational plate. Well, these are some low vibrational questions. Oh, God forbid. Okay, I'm not even going to put you guys through some of these questions that I have to read. A man says that if his significant other expects him to pay all the bills, he expects sex regularly, even if she's not in the mood. He reasons that sometimes he's not in the mood to pay the bills. Is he out of line? Explain. This question's funny for me because I'm a woman who's going to give my man sex regularly. Here's the thing. Isn't that the point of an exclusive relationship? Like, I am sitting here, how many months out? Like 8 months out of a relationship, almost a year of us not living together. I have not had relations since I left my ex on March 14th, 2023. When I got back to Canada, I have not had sex, okay, since March 14th of 2023. Because for me, sex at this point in my life is reserved for relationships. And so therefore, I don't see myself getting into a relationship and not wanting to have sex every single damn second I can, because when I'm not in a relationship, I'm not having it. So when I am in a relationship, isn't that one of the benefits of being in a relationship? So yeah, trust me, if you are paying all the bills, because it's ghetto over here having to pay my own, where do you want it, sir? Where are we having it? Where? In the bathroom at Target? On the side of the highway? When we go to the restaurant and I walk in and throw my panties like on your lap and go to the gender neutral bathroom? Like, where, sir? That's the point of a relationship. Because these single streets, ladies, are not where we're supposed to be flinging around our vagina. Where we're supposed to be popping it down is in the relationship. Pop it down, drop it, lock it, where we're gonna go. The problem with the game is y'all ladies are throwing your vagina out on these single streets, okay, and having men slide into other women's DMs. Listen, I have guys coming into my DMs showing the most ridiculous things. If I were to show you guys my DMs sometimes, I'm like, what makes you think? And I have to say to guys, like, why would you send me this message? I said one guy, why would? Why? Because it worked in about 20 other girls' DMs. That's so funny. Because he's got a few dollars. No, a relationship is where the sex is. Single is the getting to know each other. Dating is the getting to know each other. It's not where you fling your pum pum out a door and then complain and ask why men are not taking you seriously. Let me tell you, the moment I get in a relationship, he's going to be tired. But I digress. I thank everybody for joining me tonight and listening to my TED Talk. I appreciate you all. I hope if you please watch the show on the replay, share the show, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends to tell a friend to tell your friend and your mama and your dog about the fact that I'm here trying to change the conversation about Black relationships. Again, if you'd like to be a guest host, please let me know because I really want some male perspective on the show. I'm tired of doing this show and y'all just hear my mouth. I really want to hear what men have to say so that we could have respectful discourse is what I have, because the male experience, especially the Black male experience, is not my experience, and therefore I want to get some of these conversations from the Black male experience. So again, hit me up, let me know. You can email me at fyftheshow@gmail.com, or you can just send me a DM on Instagram. I'm on Instagram on Fuck Your Feelings the Show, or you can even send me a message in the comment section in YouTube, and I will hit you up, because again, I think these conversations are important between us, right? When we come together and have these conversations instead of doing this. I don't want to talk at you. I want to talk with you. So I appreciate you all. I love you all. I want to thank you all for the support. Please join me in this movement to change the conversation around Black relationships, because when we do, trust me, we're going to be better as a community and as a nation. So love you all. Good night. It's been a long day. Bye. So bye to YouTube and goodbye to Instagram.